Some salt to draw out the moisture, and we're going to add a few tablespoons of water, and this is just going to help the veg soften. I'm using lots and lots of vegetables here. It's going to really help bulk this out and make it more filling, but also keep the calories low, and we're just going to add loads of health benefits by using so many veggies. So we've had that veg cooking for about 12 minutes now, and you can see it's gone really soft, and that was without using any oil at all. So now the veg is softened, I'm going to put that into my casserole dish, and we're going to move on to frying off our minced meat. So we're going to put everything into this casserole dish, make sure it's oven proof, because what's going to happen next is we're going to put it into a low oven and let it slow cook for a couple of hours. So in the same pan, we're going to start off browning our meat. So you just want to go for something really low fat, so a really lean beef mince. If you want, you could use quorn if you want to have high protein and keep it veggie, or you could even use turkey mince. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start off with small amounts in the pan, and using my hands, I'm just going to crumble it in. Give it a little season with salt and pepper and get it nice and brown all over. So when we're browning the meat off, what we're doing is we're sealing in flavour and moisture. This step is really important, so don't be tempted to add it all in and overcrowd your pan, because what will happen is you're going to reduce the temperature and you're going to end up boiling and stewing the meat rather than sealing it and searing it. So just take your time on this step. As you can see now, the meat's evenly coloured. That's going to go straight into our casserole dish. I'm just going to repeat this step until all my mince is fried off. So now I've just fried off my final batch of minced beef. That's going to go in the pan. And what we're going to do now is we're going to make the gravy that's going to go in to help this all cook down nice and slowly. So into the same pan, I'm going to go in with some passata. It wouldn't be a Gabriella's recipe unless we made it a little bit Italian. So straight into that pan, we're going to add some passata. And to that, we're going to add some stock and bring that to the boil. I'm just using some chicken stock, but you can use veg or beef, whatever you prefer or whatever you've got in the house. So while we wait for this to come to the boil, we're going to add some more flavourings just to get as much flavour into this dish as possible. So we're going with a couple of sprigs of thyme, some bay leaves, a few splashes of Worcestershire sauce or lean Perrins. Always a mouthful to say that one. And a good heaped spoon of Dijon mustard. This just adds a nice little bit of background heat to the dish. So we're going to be using corn flour today to thicken this. So all we want to do is get the corn flour, and with some cold water we're going to slowly add it until we get a nice smooth liquid paste. So now our sauce has come to the boil, we're ready to add our corn flour. So just slowly pour it in. We want to make sure that we bring this back to a boil and make sure it's thickened evenly. So the sauce has come to the boil, it's thickened, we're ready to add it to our mince and our vegetables. We're going to give everything a really nice mix together. I'm going to add my final ingredients. I've got some diced up courgette and some frozen peas. Putting them in last if you want them to keep a nice bright colour. Final season of salt and pepper. Then it's going to go into an oven at 180 degrees for at least an hour and a half, but we're aiming for 2 hours until everything's super tender. Lid on and into an oven. So while our mince is cooking in the oven, we're going to make a start on our mashed potato topping. So as I said before, we're making this healthy. So what we're going to use today is sweet potato and cauliflower. So I've just put that into some cold water, brought it to the boil and cooked it for about 20 minutes until everything's really tender and it can fall apart between my fingertips. So that's going to go straight into our bowl. So we're going to make this really nice and creamy but keeping it really healthy. So we're going to go in with 100 ml of milk. That comes in at 50 calories, so don't feel bad. That's semi-skimmed. So straight into the bowl. We're going to add some chopped up garlic, really nice and small. Sprinkle that in. A good serving of salt and pepper. Remember, we want to get as much flavour in as possible. Some fresh black pepper. And then we're going to add a little bit of mustard and some fresh chopped parsley. And we're just going to incorporate this with a masher until we get a nice smooth mash. By using sweet potato and cauliflower, we're just adding so much more nutrition to this dish rather than using a white starchy potato. mashed now. And now for the secret ingredient, I'm going to be adding 2 eggs. This is going to help the mashed potato take a lovely colour on. So I'm going to go in with 2 eggs, I'm going to mix that quickly. So everything's mixed together, I've just checked it for seasoning and it tastes amazing. By using the cauliflower, we've got a nice chunky texture. If you do prefer something smoother though, feel free to use a stick blender to puree your cauliflower and sweet potatoes so you get a silkier, smoother finish. But I'm happy with that. We're ready to get that into a piping bag and top it on our mince. So the mince has been in the oven for 2 hours. It's lovely, soft and tender. The mash is ready, we're ready to assemble. So what we're going to do is we're going to put our mash into a piping bag. Don't worry if you haven't got one. You can just use a little freezer bag, put it into a container and fold the edges back on itself like this. And then we're going to spoon the mash into it and cut the corner off, and we can get a nice fancy little nozzle on the end. So once all the mash is into the sandwich bag, we're just going to squeeze it down and just cut the corner off. Be careful, because if you overfill it, your bag is going to burst and it's going to be mash everywhere. So take your time, or double bag it. Leave that to the side, and we're going to get our mince into our dish. With this recipe, I have used 1 kilo of mince, so I've made enough here that you can put some in the freezer and you can do a bit of meal prep, so you can keep it in the fridge. But feel free to half this recipe if you only want to make it for less people. This much will easily serve 8 people. Yes, I am cooking for 8, that's how many is in our household. So I'm just going to start layering this into my casserole dish that I'm going to use to then bake in the oven. And any leftovers, guys, you can use it to make some bolognese with some pasta, would be really good. You could make enchiladas, have it in a jacket potato, and as I said as well, it freezes fantastic. So we're ready to pipe. So just starting in the corners, just start to apply little blobs all the way down. And by adding a little bit of height, it means these bits are going to get nice and crispy once they go in the oven. At 200 degrees and just let that mashed potato get nice and crispy, about 15-20 minutes. Just come out of the oven, it's bubbling, it's toasty, it smells amazing. There you have it, guys, my healthier cottage pie.